walk you through one of the really key things that I took away from Maria's Send Inclusive Classroom session, and there were many. But I'm kind of going to be focusing on the strategies that we can employ within the classroom, thinking about how we incorporate that into our planning and why that's important in terms of supporting students with language and communication needs. So what was Maria's message? So there were many things that I learned from it and took away. But the one that really stuck with me is the bit in red, where she talks about how your send should be at the heart of it. And when I went away and thought about that, I kind of thought about it and with the English department connected it to sort of the image of that filament light bulb. And it's the idea that your planning and your preparation and your scaffolding is at the very core of the lights, but then ultimately the light that shines out, being that support that you've provided, is going to touch others within the classroom. And as a result, it will bring on the needs of others who you might not necessarily say were SEND students, but they might have some sort of social emotional need which can help support them through that planning for SEND. Now, in terms of what I'm going to be covering, I'm going to be looking at storyboards and how they're an effective tool for recall, consolidation, and challenge. Particularly the challenge element, you can use it as a discussion point if you've got an image, and you can talk about how the process works, how that image connects to another image, why that image connects to another image, and build upon it thinking about, okay, well, what subject-specific vocabulary can we use and embed in our analysis? And I hope that becomes a little bit clearer as I sort of go through this with you. Now, in terms of storyboards, the reason I've picked it is because, Maria said, if you can picture it, you can understand it. And sometimes students have that fear of a blank page. And if you can just start them off, whether that just be with a few images on the page, they've at least got a starting point, which helps to alleviate that anxiety, which a lot of SEND can suffer with. Now, in terms of how I've used storyboarding within English, I've used it for creative writing and thinking about how we structure our pieces. Now, as you can see, what I've done is I've shown them a clip from Lord of the Rings and I've screenshot particular moments within the scene. Now, the reason I've done that is because often, if I was trying to get them to recall what happened in the video earlier in the lesson or the previous lesson, students often found it hard to pinpoint the exact moments I was talking about or the exact moments I wanted them to focus on. And by having those screenshots, it really helped them to visualize where the focus and attention needed to be. Now, as time went on, I took some of the scaffolds away, and this is now what my lessons are starting to look like. So I've just got those screen grabs from particular parts of a clip. And then I've managed to challenge them through my questioning, thinking about, okay, well, what could we zoom in on here? Why would we zoom in on that particular feature as opposed to that particular feature? What vocabulary would we apply here? And sometimes I give them two comparative sentences and I'd say, which one is better and why? Justify your reasons. Think about what we could then add to our plan. And I found that initial scaffolding with the images has helped and been used as a springboard to move on to the other ideas. But you might be thinking, okay, well, how can this be applicable to my subject? So hopefully I've done this okay, but what I've done is I've thought about some other subjects within the school. And I've thought about how storyboarding or image-based discussions could be embedded in other subjects. And I won't have time to go through all of these with you, but obviously they're there for you to look at and consider. But I spoke to Ben in geography and he talked about tracking the process of longshore drift. And he said he uses storyboarding as a way of telling the story of longshore drift, and he creates the character Penny the Pebble. With history, you could track an individual and the impact that they had. With maths and science, you could storyboard a process, and there's so many things that you could do. I hope that you found this session useful, and yeah, have a lovely, lovely day, and hopefully you can start thinking about ways you can storyboard in your subject. Okay, bye.